So there was something pretty crazy that happened on the House floor on a vote for $1 billion for funding for Israel's Iron Dome. There was a vote going on. There's the vast majority of people voted yes, so it was going to pass. Some squad members voted in favor. Others, like AOC, had originally voted no. Now, there were still a few no votes at the end from the squad, but she had voted no, but then Nancy Pelosi appears to approach her and really appears to get into what looked to be like some kind of spirited conversation, or some kind of almost maybe like a scolding even of some kind. So she appears to get into that. AOC raises her hand and then decides to switch her vote, and then she is seen essentially crying as she's like walking away. So, check out the video footage here.
Designated by Mr. Lawson of Florida, pursuant to House Resolution 8, I inform the House that Mr. Lawson will vote nay on House Resolution 483 amendments. He votes nay.
For what purpose?
Yeah, so you can see Nancy Pelosi in the bottom left corner talking to AOC, and she appears to be giving some kind of lecture or scolding of some kind, and it appears to be moving enough to AOC to switch her vote from no to present. Now, this is a symbolic vote anyways, because the vast majority of votes were yay. They were yes, so, her vote didn't matter. So she went from no to present. Now, the question really is, what the hell happened there? Because it's really surprising to see her able to be, switched over like that, or for her to be able to be swayed like that. What did Nancy Pelosi say to her that made her change her vote? That's the question. And obviously, she was literally pretty much seen crying. We don't know 100% sure if she was really crying, for real. But, that's what it appeared to be. Obviously, there's a ton of pressure in her role. What's supposed to be her support base isn't even really there, because it's very heavily fragmented, that being on the people who are on the progressive side, or at least purport to be. So that kind of makes it very difficult. And then you're going up against the establishment. This is a vote that was like 400 to like 5 or something like that, somewhere around there. So it's just like, it's a really tough thing. AOC has been really strong against Israel. She has called out Israel time and time again, on the House floor, on social media. She has introduced amendments, two things to actually, one recently was to halt U.S. arms sales to Israel. So she's clearly been very strong on this. So what the fuck happened? So the things I could think of, I mean, I don't really know. I mean, the only thing I could think of that Nancy Pelosi could say is trying to explain to her why it's in her best interest to not vote no. That's the only thing I could think of. I don't see why else she would change her vote on this. It doesn't really make sense. Maybe it was something like, this is how you don't get committee seats, or this is how you don't build the political future, or something like that. I don't really know. So now it comes down to the question of essentially, the age-old question of whether or not she's trying to set herself up for being further in power, right? Being in just a member in the House really isn't much. You got to get onto committees, you got to become a senator, blah, 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 that kind of stuff. And so is she telling her how this is not how you coalition build or something? I really don't know. But if it were to be the case that she were to able to get more power by switching a no vote to a present vote on a clearly dead bill like this one, again, it's like 400 something to 5. So it's really not a big deal. But, it's definitely concerning, and you're wondering what it was that Nancy Pelosi told her that made her move. Definitely one of the most interesting things I've seen happen on the floor of Congress, especially here at the House of Representatives. So, yeah, man, I mean, that's the only thing that I could imagine it being, is her telling her that this is not in your best interest for attempting to, accumulate or consolidate power. That's the only thing I could think of. But let me know what you think. Hopefully, I guess that's the best case scenario. I mean, the worst case scenario would be she flexed her power, in a situation where she doesn't have any kind of gain, potentially, except for like a gain of like a loss, not netting a loss. I don't know. It's very tough, but if this were something that were to, lead to her getting more power from switching a no vote to a present vote on a clearly dead bill, then I think it's worth it. But the thing is, we probably will never know.